It was almost midnight when Dr. Aaron Keller drove through the desolate highway that cut between endless pine woods somewhere outside Asheville, North Carolina. The cold November wind whispering against the sides of his car, carrying with it a strange metallic scent that reminded him of old coins and rain-soaked rust. And as he approached the turn for St. Mary's County Hospital, the headlights caught the crooked sign swaying in the wind, its paint faded, its letters almost eaten away by time, but still faintly legible. St. Mary's County Hospital, St. 1907, and beneath it a smaller board hung loosely, tapping against the metal pole with each gust. Do not enter after dark. He should have turned around right there. But duty and curiosity have a way of blinding reason, and he drove on, the tires crunching over wet gravel, the fog thickening until the world shrank to the narrow beam of his headlights, revealing just the winding road and the skeletal outlines of trees bending low like mourners. When he finally saw the hospital, it loomed out of the mist like something half buried, half awake. The old brick walls cracked, the windows dark except for one, a pale yellow glow in the upper east wing that flickered irregularly, like a candle fighting to stay alive. Aaron killed the engine, stepped out, and the silence that met him felt wrong. Not peaceful, not empty, but watchful. The air was still, too still, as if the entire forest was holding its breath. He adjusted his coat, grabbed his briefcase, and started toward the main door, the crunch of his footsteps echoing unnaturally loud. The door was heavier than it looked, and when he pushed it open, the hinges screamed, the sound long and metallic, spilling into the vast darkness inside. The lobby smelled of dust, bleach, and something faintly sweet, something decayed but preserved. "Hello?" he called out, his voice bouncing back from the empty walls. No response, only the soft hum of electricity from somewhere deep within. Then slowly, a figure appeared at the far end. An old janitor, thin, stooped, holding a flickering lantern. "Dr. Keller?" the man said, voice rasping like dry leaves. "You're the new one, aren't you?" Aaron nodded, stepping closer. "Yes, that's me. They said I'd be met by someone from administration." The janitor gave a slow nod, his eyes clouded, his face pale beneath the flickering light. "Administration don't come here after sunset," he murmured. "Not anymore." Aaron frowned. "What do you mean?" The old man just turned, gesturing with the lantern. "I'll show you to your quarters, doctor. Best get settled before the lights go out." The way he said it, "before the lights go out," made Aaron's skin crawl, but he followed anyway. The corridor stretched endlessly. The tiles beneath his shoes cracked and yellowed, each step echoing like a clock counting down to something unseen. On the walls hung old photographs, doctors and nurses from another century, their eyes too sharp, their smiles too still. In one picture, a woman in a nurse's uniform stood slightly apart from the others, her face pale, her gaze fixed straight ahead. There was something wrong about her eyes, something too alive. The janitor noticed his stare. "That's Nurse Monroe," he said quietly. "She was here long before my time." Some say she never left. Aaron forced to chuckle. Ghost stories? Every hospital has them, but the old man didn't smile. He just whispered, "She doesn't like to be laughed at." They stopped before a wooden door marked Dr. Keller, Pathology. "Your office," the janitor said. "There's heat only in this wing. Don't go below the basement after midnight. Not unless you hear it." Aaron turned. "Hear what?" But the janitor had already started walking away. "You'll know," he said. voice fading into the darkness. Aaron entered the office. It was cold but neat. A desk, a few metal cabinets, an old autopsy table under a single buzzing bulb. On the desk lay a register, its pages yellowed, the ink faint but readable. The most recent entry, dated only a week ago, read, Subject, Monroe Evelyn, Status, Deceased, Cause, Cardiac Arrest. His brow furrowed. The same name from the photograph. He turned the page. Blank. Just one entry. He sighed, sat back, rubbed his temples, and muttered, Probably coincidence. But then, a sound, faint, rhythmic, tap, 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 coming from the hallway. He stood listening. It stopped. A whisper, distant but distinct. Doctor? His breath caught. He opened the door, peered out. The hall was empty. The lights flickered once, then twice, then held steady again. He exhaled, forcing a laugh. You're just tired. But as he turned back, the register was closed. He hadn't closed it. He felt a chill crawl up his spine. That's when the light above him dimmed. Not off, just low, like something standing between the bulb and the air. He looked up slowly. Nothing. But he could feel it. A presence. Watching. He packed his things, deciding to explore the next morning, and lay down on the small cot in the corner. Sleep came in fragments. Flashes of whispers, footsteps, the faint clink of metal trays. Sometime after 3 a.m., he woke to cold air brushing his face. The door was open. He was sure he'd locked it. A dim light flickered from the corridor. He rose, every muscle stiff, and stepped outside. The hall stretched before him, darker than before, the ends swallowed in shadows. He followed the faint sound, a woman humming, soft, distant, a lullaby that seemed to come from below. The basement, the morgue. His heartbeat thudded against his ribs, but curiosity, or something deeper, pulled him on. He reached the stairwell, the air colder with each step, the smell of formaldehyde and rust growing stronger. The humming stopped. Silence. Then a whisper beside his ear. You came. He spun, but no one there. Only the echo of his own breath. At the bottom, a flickering bulb illuminated a single metal table and 4 drawers. The top drawer hung slightly open. A tag dangled from it. Monroe, Evelyn. He froze, every part of him screaming to leave, but his hands moved anyway, pulling the drawer open. Inside, beneath a white sheet, lay the shape of a woman, her skin pale, her hair dark and damp against her cheeks. His hands shook as he pulled the sheet lower. Her eyes were open, wide, staring straight at him, the pupils glossy, yet alive. He stumbled back, heart hammering, whispering, No, no, that's not possible. And then the eyes blinked. Just once. He ran. Up the stairs, through the hall, until he burst into his office and slammed the door. The lights flickered violently, buzzing like a swarm of flies. He collapsed against the wall, gasping, staring at his trembling hands. Minutes passed before the air steadied, before he dared to move again. He opened his desk drawer, searching for his phone. It was gone. In its place lay a small brass locket. He picked it up. Inside was a photograph, the same woman from the morgue. Beneath her picture, in faint cursive letters, For Aaron, forever. His throat went dry. He had never seen her before. The next morning, sunlight tried to push through the dusty windows but failed to warm the air. The janitor was gone. The hospital seemed emptier, quieter. Aaron walked the halls, each step echoing like he was trespassing in someone's dream. In the records room, he found files stacked in piles, years of neglect. He searched the archives for Monroe, Evelyn. There were multiple entries, all the same name, different years. 1921, 1953, 1978, 2009. Every few decades, another Evelyn Monroe died here. Same age, same photo. He stared at the pages, his hands trembling. Suddenly, a shadow moved behind the frosted glass of the door. A silhouette, tall, female, unmoving. He whispered, "Hello?" The handle turned slowly. He stepped back, the door creaking open just a few inches, and through the gap, a pale hand slid in, holding his locket. "You left this," a voice said softly. It was the same voice from the basement. He ran, through the hallways, up the stairs, into the old chapel at the top floor. The pews were covered in dust, the crucifix cracked down the middle. He locked the door, pressed his back against it, and for a moment thought he was safe, until the air shifted, the candles flickered to life one by one, and from the far corner, that same humming began again, slow, sad, closer. The chapel door behind him rattled. Then the whisper came, not from outside, but from within the room. "You promised." He turned. She stood in the center aisle, her hospital gown torn, her hair floating as though underwater, her eyes black and endless. He stumbled backward, whispering, "What do you want?" She smiled faintly. "You left me here." He shook his head. "I don't know you." But she stepped closer, her bare feet leaving no sound. "You were supposed to finish what you started." He remembered the file. Multiple deaths, same name. A cycle. "What are you?" he whispered. She leaned close, her voice barely a breath. A doctor should know his own patient. And with that, the lights blew out, plunging everything into darkness. When he opened his eyes again, he was lying on an operating table. The ceiling lights glared down, the smell of antiseptic thick in his throat. His wrists were strapped. A figure stood beside him, wearing his own coat, his own name tag. It was him. The other Aaron smiled, picking up a scalpel. "You took too long," he said softly. "She's been waiting." Aaron screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the hum of the machines, and the last thing he saw before the world went black again was Nurse Monroe standing in the doorway, whispering through the static of his dying breath, "Welcome back, doctor."